Hello GCS Mobile students. I did want to wish you a good luck on the start of your school year, starting here in just a few days. Wanted to also say how much I will miss having you in my class this year. I'd love to have you in my class, sitting in my class where I could see your face. You're stuck seeing my face, which you would do in my classroom anyway, I guess. But anyway, do miss having you in my room, especially those of you who have had the joy of having in my classroom before. I do have some mobile students who I've never had in my class before, and so looking forward to being your teacher regardless, though. My goal, of course, as it is with any student that I teach, is to help you as much as I possibly can, to help you understand math. And if you were in my classroom, you'd have the freedom to ask questions while I'm teaching. Now, the nice thing is, there will be students in the class who may ask the question that you have. And so it's very possible I will answer your questions as I'm teaching, and I'll help you to understand things just fine. But I'm sure there will be times as I'm teaching that there will be something, and maybe you, replay that part of the video again, and I still don't get it. I don't understand what he did there. If you find yourself in a spot like that this school year, please let me know. Now, if you're staying with me fairly current, then I may even answer your question. For instance, you have a question, I may be able to answer the next video lesson. Because maybe you have a question and I realize, oh, I bet my students have the same question. But I at least want to help you in a couple of different ways. Now, Scott and Gavin, first of all, I've got you Algebra 2 and Algebra 1 respectively. You're in Japan, okay? So I can't necessarily video chat with you very easily. If that's what we need to do, I will make it happen. I will make it happen, all right? But I found effective with you was recording individual personalized YouTube videos, answering questions. Have mom email me any questions you have, even if it's just, can you go over this again and try explaining it another way? Can you go over this problem? Can you go over this concept? I didn't quite understand this. Okay, now the key to success with this, gentlemen, is to stay with me in the videos. Okay, so starting Tuesday, August 9th, or maybe for you it's going to be Tuesday, August 10th, or maybe Wednesday, August 11th, somewhere in there, getting started, so I remember what I just taught, would be key. For the rest of you, though, here in the United States, you've got the opportunity to video chat with me. If your parents have Zoom downloaded, we can use that. I believe all of your parents have Facebook downloaded, and I can use Facebook video chat to tutor you and answer your questions, actually interact with you, and you can ask those questions, but only if your parents let me know. So as you go throughout the class, questions you have, please, please, please give me the opportunity to help you. In pre-algebra, of course, we've got Kyla, we've got Jaden, we've got Evan, we've got Rocky, you four students. A little bit later on this year, you'll actually hear your names mentioned in some video lessons. You won't hear them for a little while, and you won't hear your actual classmates for a little while. You'll hear the students I recorded last year. So you'll get to know Lana, and you'll get to know Josh. After a little bit, you'll get to know Scott, actually, who's now a mobile student, who was in the early recordings of the pre-algebra lessons. But you'll get to know them really well. You'll hear their voices. You will never see their faces. It's part of YouTube privacy policy. But again, you're a part of the class still. So Jaden, Kyla, Evan, Rocky, you're a part of my class. I want to help you as much as I possibly can. Algebra 1, of course, Scott, help you in every way I possibly can. Your videos have all been pre-recorded, so you'll get to hear your brother. I know that's great motivation for you. But everything's pre-recorded for the most part. I will be re-recording some lessons. So you'll have your classmates in some re-recorded lessons I'm going to be doing toward the end of the first quarter. And then Gavin and Brecken taking Algebra 2. Again, that's all new. Okay, so I will say your names frequently just for the fun of it. That and remind my other students that you're in the class too. Okay, so looking forward to having you in the Victoria in geometry. All of your stuff has been pre-recorded except for a couple of lessons. So there will be just a couple times this year where you will have a lesson catered just to you. All right, because I have to re-record those. Something went wrong. But almost all the lessons pre-recorded. You especially, Victoria, are probably going to need the most one-on-one help, only because with geometry, if you don't get it, you need me to explain it to you. Okay, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Obviously, everything that you will be sent in, quizzes, tests, and all of that, will usually be taken with the video. So I'll actually tell my class take out a sheet of paper, take out a pencil. I will hand them the quiz. When I say that, pause the video in most instances and have your parents give you the quiz or test or whatever it is that you're supposed to be taking. And then you will resume the video once you finish in some cases. Sometimes I'll say pause the video. If I do that, definitely pause the video. If I don't expressly say to pause the video, then once your mom or whoever's proctoring has given you that quiz or test, start the video back up again, because oftentimes I'll actually go over certain problems on quizzes on video. So if there's going to be a question or there's something specific I want to mention, I'll do that. So again, I mentioned go ahead and prepare for the quiz, pause, get your paper out, get your pencil out. If you're in Algebra 2 geometry, you want a calculator, get the calculator out. Sorry, Algebra 1, Pre-Algebra, don't you dare use a calculator. Actually, I think there is a time in Pre-Algebra I let you have a calculator on like one quiz. 2 quizzes, something like that. It'll be special and you'll know in advance. Okay, and then start the video back up again so that you can see on the quiz what my students are seeing after I've handed them the quiz. Usually, the video keeps on running and there's just 10 or so minutes of silence while my class takes the quiz, and then I'll come back up and say, all right, let's go ahead and keep going. If you're not done, you're not actually physically in the class, you're allowed to take a little longer if you need to. Okay, you've got the handicap of being a video student as opposed to a live student. So I'm going to give you that benefit. My class is on a time schedule. So when I say I'm collecting them in, they're not done, too bad. For you, you can always hit pause, and I don't mind. So make sure your parents understand that as well. There's not a problem going over time, even on tests. My students are tied to 50 minutes. You aren't, okay? So tests you can have a little longer. I did want to mention test days. Obviously, there's not an actual lesson. There will still be a video, usually about 3 or 4 minutes. Please make sure you watch those video segments. That's time in which I will go over the test questions, test sections, making sure you understand everything that you're going to see on that test before you take it. So again, it's not that on test days you're not watching a video, it's just a very short video. You'll want to make sure that your mom or, again, whoever's proctoring gives you that test before you start the video. That way you can watch along with the rest of the class, me going over those questions. Once you're finished with quizzes and tests, have mom, dad, whoever's proctoring, scan or take photos, high resolution photos preferably, of not just your test or quiz, but also the work that you did. Okay, so if there's extra paper with some work on there, make sure I see that. That's where partial credit's going to factor in. So make sure I get pictures or scans of extra work that you did, the actual work you did to answer the test or quiz questions. Final exams were not in your packet. There is a possibility you could be exempted from final exams. No sense setting one if you don't need it. If you do need the final exam, I will mail that separately at a later date, but everything else is in that packet. Handouts were not included in the packet. There will be times this year, especially in Algebra 2, especially in geometry, there's going to be a lot of handouts because the book just doesn't have everything I feel it needs, so I add to it. Now, the flip side, there's also some things it has that I'm like, they'll get it later. They don't need that right now, that I take out. Okay, so I kind of cater it to what I feel is most needful and beneficial for you. But those handouts will generally be in the description of the YouTube video. And I'll mention that on the lesson. I'll mention there's such and such handout. It's in the description of the YouTube video. Find that link in the description. Make sure you at least bring it up on the screen. You don't have to print those handouts. It's recommended that you do. That way you can work directly on the handout. But if you don't have a printer, not the end of the world. Okay, you can bring up the handout on a computer screen or tablet screen. That'll show you what the problems are, and then you can work them on your own paper. That's fine. But there will be a lot of homework that will be, especially in Algebra 2 and geometry, that will be on handouts. Algebra 1 will have a fair number as well. Pre-Algebra, not as many. Okay, so Jaden, Kyla, Evan, Brock, you don't really have to worry about a whole lot of handouts in Pre-Algebra. There will be a few. And again, those will be in the description of the YouTube videos. The links to those documents, and all of those documents are Dropbox documents. They're secure, nothing dangerous about clicking on those links. I think that's just about it. Again, recommended start date would be Tuesday, August 10th, or, especially Scott and Gavin, maybe Wednesday, August 11th, since you're about half a day ahead of us. That gives me time to make sure I get YouTube videos uploaded, and that'll keep you, though, close to our pace. My goal is that you're only a day or so behind us, maybe at most 2 days behind. Again, that way when you do have questions, things are still freshest in my mind, ready and able to answer those questions and help you. Also, you'll be taking your quizzes just a day or two after my own students will take them here in the classroom. And so looking forward to that. Any questions that you have, any questions your parents have, don't hesitate to ask. Okay? My goal for you is that you would actually enjoy math, even though it's virtual, even though it's behind a computer screen or maybe a tablet screen. Okay, now I will say I would not watch these lessons on a phone. Okay, you're going to have a hard time reading what I do on a chalkboard on a phone screen. So tablet or computer, certainly ideal. But it's, my goal is to make it fun for you. So I hope I can do that. I hope I can help you learn and make good progress. Obviously, as I get quizzes in, I'll see how well you're learning and be able to help you more effectively then. But any questions, you have my email, parents have my email. Make sure I get those questions. And it is not an inconvenience for me to video chat with you. Now, Scott and Gavin, yes, I'll admit it's an inconvenience you being in Japan on a totally different time. But I'm willing to do that if that's what you need. Okay? I'm committed to you just as much as I am to any other student that's in my classroom. Okay? You are my student. You're on RedWeb, you're on my roster. By the way, you could earn end-of-year awards. So we could have the Pre-Algebra award going to a student who's not even on campus. And we'll announce it in the awards ceremony at the end of the year that so-and-so was the highest overall average in whatever class. And we will mail you the awards. You are part of this class, and I care for you every bit as much as I care for the other students. So I wanted to share that message with you here as we look forward to starting the school year in just a few more days.